The life of Maria, a cleaning lady in a small town, had always been one of quiet resilience. She worked long hours scrubbing floors and dusting furniture in the homes of wealthy clients, earning just enough to make ends meet. Her husband, Carlos, was another story. Once charming and attentive, Carlos had become bitter and controlling over the years. He spent more time criticizing Maria's efforts than contributing to their household, often gambling away the little money they had. One evening, after a particularly grueling day, Maria stopped by a convenience store to grab milk for the next morning. On a whim, she bought a lottery ticket. It was something she rarely did, but for some reason, that ticket felt different in her hand. She tucked it into her purse and thought no more about it. A few days later, Maria found herself in front of the TV, the lottery numbers flashing across the screen. She had nearly forgotten about the ticket until the announcer called the first number. It matched hers, then the second. Her heart raced as the third, fourth, and fifth numbers aligned. By the time the final number was revealed, Maria was clutching the ticket with trembling hands, realizing she was now the winner of $10 million. Maria's initial reaction was disbelief. Could this really be happening to her? As the shock wore off, reality set in. This money could change her life forever. But then another thought surfaced: Carlos. He would expect half of the winnings, if not more, and Maria knew exactly what he would do with it. The idea of him gambling away her hard-earned fortune sent a shiver down her spine. She decided, at that moment, that she wouldn't tell him. The next few days were a whirlwind. Maria quietly sought legal advice, explaining her situation to a lawyer she found in a neighboring city. He assured her that as long as she claimed the money discreetly and set up certain financial protections, she could keep her winnings hidden from her husband. Maria followed his advice meticulously, creating a trust to manage her money and ensuring her identity as the winner remained confidential. Carlos, oblivious to her secret, continued his routine of lounging at home and berating Maria for not earning enough. She pretended nothing had changed, going to work as usual and keeping her demeanor calm. But inside, she was plotting her next move. One day, Carlos mentioned that he had plans to visit his brother in a nearby town. He insisted Maria stay home, as he believed she couldn't afford to take time off. Maria encouraged him to go, secretly relieved to have some space. While he was away, she began quietly arranging for her new life. Maria purchased a modest yet beautiful home in a quiet neighborhood, furnishing it with care. She also made arrangements to help her aging parents, who lived in a small village and had always supported her in spirit despite their own struggles. She set aside money for a scholarship fund for underprivileged children, a dream she had harbored for years, but never thought she could realize. When Carlos returned, he noticed subtle changes in Maria. She seemed more confident, less weighed down by the burdens of their life together. But he chalked it up to her getting a small bonus at work, something she casually mentioned to deflect his suspicions. Over time, Carlos's behavior began to unravel. He started questioning Maria about her whereabouts and accusing her of hiding things from him. Maria, however, remained composed. One evening, while Carlos was out drinking with friends, she packed a bag and left their home for good. Maria left behind a note, brief but firm: "Carlos, I have decided to move on. Our lives have taken different paths, and it's time for me to focus on my own happiness. I wish you the best, Maria." She moved into her new home and started fresh, leaving no forwarding address. Her legal team ensured Carlos could not access her funds or track her new life. Maria's days were now filled with joy and purpose. She volunteered at local charities, made new friends, and even took a few classes to pursue her long-forgotten love of art. Carlos, on the other hand, was furious when he discovered Maria was gone. He tried to find her, convinced she was hiding something. But Maria had thought of everything, leaving no traces for him to follow. Months later, Carlos stumbled upon a news article about a local philanthropist who had anonymously funded scholarships and community programs. The story included a vague description of the benefactor that sounded eerily like Maria. His suspicions grew, but without proof, there was nothing he could do. Maria, meanwhile, flourished in her new life. The weight of years of struggle and emotional manipulation lifted. She blossomed into the person she had always dreamed of being. She often thought about the day she bought that lottery ticket and how it had given her not just financial freedom, but the courage to reclaim her life. In the end, Maria's story became a quiet testament to resilience and determination. She had faced years of hardship and a controlling partner, but had emerged stronger, using her good fortune to build a life filled with purpose and generosity. She invested in her community, funding initiatives for women like her who had been trapped in cycles of despair. Maria created scholarships, sponsored local businesses, and even opened a shelter for women seeking independence from toxic relationships. Her actions touched countless lives, proving that one person's transformation could spark a ripple effect of hope and change. Meanwhile, Carlos's obsession with uncovering Maria's secret became his undoing. He squandered more money and alienated the few friends he had left. Each lead he pursued ended in frustration, a stark contrast to Maria's flourishing life. Maria, now surrounded by a network of supportive friends and a legacy of giving, lived in quiet peace. She no longer feared Carlos's shadow, for she had built a fortress of resilience and kindness around her. The home she had purchased stood as a symbol of her independence, a place where laughter and warmth filled the air. She hosted gatherings for her community, opening her doors to those who needed support or just a listening ear. Her life was no longer about mere survival. It was about thriving and helping others do the same. As she sat by her garden one evening, the aroma of blooming jasmine wafting through the air, Maria reflected on her journey. The scars of her past remained, but they no longer defined her. Instead, they were reminders of her strength, proof of her ability to rise above even the darkest of circumstances. She thought of the women she had helped and the dreams she had rekindled in others. Each story she had touched, each life she had brightened, was a testament to her resilience and newfound purpose. Her smile deepened, knowing she had not only reclaimed her life, but also created a ripple effect of hope and possibility. The setting sun painted the sky in hues of gold and pink, casting a warm glow over her garden. Maria closed her eyes, listening to the gentle rustle of the breeze through the leaves, feeling the profound gratitude that came with living a life of meaning. In that moment, surrounded by the beauty she had nurtured and the peace she had fought for, Maria's heart finally found its home.